Hi, my name is Verissa, and this is my story. I decided to tell my story. This is going to be an intro. It's not going to go into detail, but I will go into detail eventually. Because the speaking up and telling it is a big part of my healing, and the understanding of it, and being able to put this puzzle back together so that I could finally have peace, and I could know love, and I could know my purpose. And if you're struggling with any of those, maybe this will inspire you. The first time I felt I needed to stand up against my alter self was in about 2011 after I had my daughter. And something like a day later really big happened in my family. We'll get to that later. But I realized I was living double lives. Part of myself had allowed the other part of myself to just be verbally, mentally, physically abused. I knew at a very early point, I knew I was being abused. From a very young age, kids are very smart. I knew something wasn't right. I knew I seemed to always be the scapegoat. I knew, but I didn't know what to do about it. I knew it. It felt horrible. I knew I gave up. I just never stopped. I never stopped the abuser. I never said no. I never said stop. I just accepted the losses, the disappointments, the fake love, the repetitive attempts to torture my soul, to blast my character. From age, honestly, I think it's newborn to now, they still continue to try to do this. They, meaning the people closest to me. We'll talk about that later. So the people closest to me made sure I accepted the abuse as what I deserved. That's part of the trauma, right? Is the acceptance. That's when you know you got the kid, because they'll just say, you know what, I can't fight against this. I don't know how to. The child like mine doesn't know how to, really. So that's why we're not able to prevent it, but we are able to restore it now. So I had a very huge burning fire and flame inside myself to basically start the healing journey for myself. Okay, so I seem to have accepted the abuse. I had no thoughts of my own. I knew that if I just went along with whatever, you can call them my handlers, but my parents, I'm sure they wouldn't identify as a handler, but it is very much that way. As long as I obeyed is the word they like to use. And what I have to say about that is, I don't know if that's over here, but I'll get to that. So basically, I'd kind of given up for most of my life, and I had every person that came into my life was this type of person. Okay, there wasn't a hero. I had to realize that I was the hero. And the burning desire inside, what the fuck? It's going dead already? The burning desire inside me was the hero. And all I had to do was listen and accept and move forward, and accept my journey and move towards it every single day. All right, basically healing became my number one priority, because I realized if I didn't do that, every single other piece would fail. Even I had the career, I wasn't happy with it, but I had the one that my parents chose for me. The one that the people around me, so the people around me who didn't like me, didn't love me, the one that they told me to have, that's the one that I had. Okay? That's the one I did. I followed, I did what they said. I even blamed myself for all the abuse. I said, okay, it must be me. I must be something wrong. I did Bible studies. I went to different churches. I studied different religions. I did all kinds of stuff which was very necessary for me. Because my mom was like, "Oh, that's disgusting. Like you, there's only like she was very, a part of a very big cult, basically." And we're gonna get into that later in the story. But okay, so I started unraveling the story. How could have all this has happened right in plain sight? Nobody ever said, "Hey, why is this little girl so sad?" Nobody cared about my dreams, my joys, my desires, not at all. And I learned so young that if I played their game and I acted as if I had no mind, no opinion, no choice, I was completely obedient to whatever my parents wanted me to do, as long as I was falling in line. As difficult as that was with a mom that's a narcissist and a dad who's definitely not interested in knowing me at all, or at all. He's more interested in he's more interested in my obedience than who I was, and so that taught me to not care about what any of that stuff. So it was hard, and oh my god, this is so crazy. I feel like I hear like all these things in here. Okay. So I had no choice. Obedience is they're not okay. So obedience, I don't know where this came from, but I kind of just started writing like really like freely. It was almost like channeling. Obedience is junk if it's not in a space. It's not in response to a father that shepherds his children. Exactly. Like I feel like, especially on the belief that my parents, like, okay, so my parents supposedly their cult, the Bible was their guide, right? But they only picked and choose which parts of it suited them and their agenda. And let's just say the kids, they left all this stuff in the Bible about kids and how important it is to be like childlike, and how important it is for parents to not provoke, but to shepherd. And why do they shepherd and not provoke? Because you can respect the shepherd. The shepherd's going to show you how to do it. He's going to do it too. He does it too. He doesn't say one thing does the other, right? The shepherd shows you. He's in the field with you. He doesn't just expect you to figure it out later after you obey. The obey thing is this one thing they would love to screw this part up in the Bible. Because it didn't, them shepherding and them having to be an example didn't suit their agenda. Okay? So this is basically the emotions that inspired me. Like, right? So basically what did I say else about my father? Yeah, how a father responds to his children. He hugged them. He wasn't afraid to like ask them questions. He wasn't afraid to listen to their answers without having to criticize them. Being able to kind of sit down and be like, yeah, and like, all right, like we can look at that, like, discuss, not just, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like an intro. What did I write here? A deep desire to heal trauma and a malnutrition mind, so that I may leave this world knowing that I gave it my absolute best effort to heal myself and to inspire my children and any other people that have gone through similar situations, or maybe like, basically I haven't gotten in depth about what actually happened, but this is like basically the emotions that inspired me to start doing tarot, start looking at my spirituality, start speaking to God, I've read the Bible quite a lot, but I literally read the Bible and I do it because I don't really do it on a daily basis now, but I did it very often for a long time, and I deeply studied it because I wanted to prove it. I wanted to prove that my parents had it fucked up. And I easily did. And a lot of other things that their church believed that I didn't. I was never accepted. I think a lot of things had happened to me that I honestly don't remember. I believe I have like repressed memories. I have a lot of missing gaps in time. But basically, the relationship I have currently with my parents is a lot worse than this, to be honest. Because what happened was I started fighting back. I started standing up. I no longer allow. I says, you will not talk to me that way. You will not speak to me that way. You will not. Like, I don't speak like that. You won't speak to me that way. Like, and you have to, a lot of times you have to just leave because these people they'll plunge towards you. They actually want to like rip your face off. They don't like to be exposed, and I'm exposing them. My voice is what is driving this, like everything though. It's the whole force behind what, like me hearing my own words literally is healing to me. I'm speaking up, I'm speaking out. I'm using the internet to do so, and I've gained clarity, but I'm just gonna speak it. I'm gonna speak my truth because I know they have their side. They have everybody convinced of their side my whole life. And everybody deals with trauma differently. My sister definitely denies everything. She thinks she had the perfect, they did a very good job of painting me as a scapegoat child. The one that was the cause of all the ruin of the family. It was so false, so not true. They deemed my character, even when my character was good. I always had good character. I always worked. Right at 18, when I graduated high school, I moved out of the house. I got a job. I paid my rent. Yada, yada, yada. The one thing I didn't do was heal my pain. That's the one thing I didn't do, and that's the one thing this world didn't inspire me to do. They inspired me to cope, party, use drugs, have sex, cover it up. But what happened was this stuff all just started coming out. And in 2011, something really big happened in my family, and it shattered that whole, we're perfect. Nobody's ever going to know that we abuse our kids. The son's not going to say anything. But that he was the straw that broke the camel's back. My brother was now in 2011 an admitted child molester, had molested his adopted daughters, and he's on the sex offender list. It's great, and he's 10 years older than me, so that means, I'm sure he had a lot of access to me in my young years, and it is what it is. But it wasn't just him. It was everything. It felt like almost from birth, if not prior to birth. This story is going to unravel more. I just want to get this rough draft and see how it came out. It's a little hard because I want to go into so many details, but I think I'm just leave this for now, and then we'll go into different topics like childhood, middle school, elementary. We'll go through it because I'm speaking my story. I'm speaking my story because I'm standing up against these people, because what they're doing is wrong. They're still doing it to this day, and I think they know that I know. So, but they're gonna still stand on their laurels, right? What they believe, what they've been trying to make everybody believe for my entire life, that I'm this big problem, it's not them, and that's what they want to go to the grave with. But my story, I'm not going to go to the grave without letting my children know that wasn't the truth, that this is the truth. I'm speaking my truth, and it's very important, especially if any other survivors or other victims were included in this, or if anybody knows anything about my story. We can all come together and talk. But anyways, this isn't a tarot reading, but this is just the beginning of my story. I hope you guys have a blessed day. Be inspired to heal yourself, the parts of yourself that keep coming up as problems, right? And we don't want to get rid of those people in our life because we've all been programmed that we need these people. These people are loving handlers. I was raised to believe I would be nothing without them. And the fact that I didn't obey what they said, oh, that really pissed him off. And I did that at a very young age. So more to come. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Much love.